welcome, welcome everyone to this rendition of Happy Hour. So, for today's practice theme, one thing I've been contemplating and sitting with is is the theme of participation. Participation, both in the worldly way of participation, but also in a much deeper way of how we participate in creating every moment of our experience. So I'll say a little more before we start with the meditation. So I think I mentioned last time that I'm actually sitting a retreat right now at home, and I'm mostly offline for, except for brief offerings, and happy hour being one of them. So, and this is one theme that has been coming up in my own contemplation that I've been sitting with and practicing with. So the idea of participation. So to consider that, I like to offer this for your consideration. That not only do we are we a participant in the creation of our life. You know, sometimes there might be the sense that people have that events happen to us. And sometimes there might be this sense of perhaps people feeling sorry for themselves or victimhood, or that events are happening. And yet, in a very deep sense, to consider that we're always participating, we're always a co-creator of our reality. That's a pretty profound statement. So I like to pause and let that sink in. That always, in every single way, actually, we are participating, we are a co creator of our experience. And one way that that shows up in the perspective that we take. Given the perspective that we take, given the way that we see events, the way we participate, the way we interpret them, the way we engage, the way we experience them, the way our experience, inner experience shows up internally, seemingly, is actually co-created, is profoundly created, co-created by what is happening. It's not just the events externally that are happening, but our engagement with them, the way we engage, the way we perceive. And there are many ways to relate to this. And one way I like to offer briefly is the teachings of what in Buddhism is called the five aggregates of experience. So the word aggregate is a heavy one, but basically these five things that create all of our experience in life. I'll briefly mention them. So in these five things, the first one is form. And form, not just the body. Sometimes it's interpreted as the body, but not just the body, but the way we relate to body. The way, for example, we relate, that we perceive, we interact with how, what our age is, I don't know, how short we are, how tall we are, how thin we are, how fat we are. It's just this experiential, how we engage with this form, with the form of the body. So how we engage. The second of the aggregates being feeling tone, the feeling tone, which is in Buddhism is pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, which again, we might think, oh, something unpleasant showed up, a pain showed up, or something showed up. But really, the way we see our perception, it creates the feeling tone, the pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Say a friend shows up. Ah, pleasant. They call you pleasant. But let's say in a month you have an argument with them. They call you up like, unpleasant, right? It's the same friend, but the way you're engaging, the way you're interacting. So the third being perception, and in this 5 aggregates, sanya is the Pali word, is really the way you recognize things. It's our recognition. For example, when you see a thread, let's say something on the road, oh, is it a stick or is it a snake? Your previous experience, how maybe awake you are, or how if you've been bitten by a snake before, maybe you'll interpret, you'll perceive this external stimulus as either dangerous or friendly. Again, it's your engagement, the way you create, you co-create reality, perception. The fourth being mental aggregates, which part of it, there are many things in this fourth heap. There are intentions in there, intention or chaitana in Buddhism, in Pali. There are mind states, there are emotions, there are stories that we tell ourselves, all these mental formations, all these mental stories, etc. in this fourth one. And of course there we can really see how our participation, how the story might show up once, like, oh, let's say I'm sad today, an emotion might come up. But then the way we participate, the way we engage, well, why am I sad? Why is this happening? Oh, this person, oh, all this story. So the participation, whereas an emotion might just be an emotion arising and passing. How do we participate? And the fifth of the last, and the last, the fifth aggregate being consciousness, also that there is a way that we participate in the way consciousness is directed, is it co-created also. This one is harder to conceive and talk about. So maybe without overloading us too much, with getting too hypothetical and thoughtful, I'll just leave it simply as considering that our consciousness, what we attend to, it's also, there's an act of participation, of co-creation. And maybe speaking it that way is pretty easy actually to relate to. That what we choose to be conscious of is also an act of participation. It's an act of our co-creation, what we choose, because science tells us that we get so much information in every single moment from the environment, internally and externally. What do we choose? What do we choose to participate in? What do we choose to be conscious of, to have consciousness towards? So I've talked about a lot of things, but just to bring into our consciousness, again, I'm inviting our consciousness to participate with how we co-create, how we participate our reality, not just in the past and future, but in this present moment, this act of co-creation, participation, to really become aware of that. Again, not in a way of, oh, my responsibility, but in a way of empowerment. Wow, we are empowered. We are so empowered. These amazing human beings we are. We are empowered in this way. So I've spoken plenty tonight, longer than I anticipated or expected. So let's get into our guided meditation. So I like to invite you to get into your meditation posture. If you need to move, to shift, to be comfortable, this is the perfect time. And landing in this body. Choosing to participate, to fully participate in this practice, turning your awareness with intentionality, setting the intention to fully participate as much as possible, to be engaged in this practice in this moment. Turning your awareness inward. And relaxing, softening the body. Softening, relaxing. Allowing the sit bones, your bottom to be well rooted and planted. And inviting your torso, your spine, to rise up with integrity. Tall, sitting with integrity and intentionality. See if you can sit a little taller. As if an invisible thread is pulling you up. And letting all your muscles, soft tissue to relax. As your spine, your skeleton, your skeletal structure holds you well rooted into your sit bones, inviting your muscles to relax, to soften. Your face, your forehead, letting your forehead smooth out. Notice if there's any tension in your eyes, your cheeks, in your jaw, relaxing them all. Choosing to soften and participate in a relaxed, soft, receptive way. Inviting, choosing to relax your neck, shoulders, softening your hands, your arms. Turning the gaze of your awareness towards your chest and abdomen. Receiving the breath. And with each out breath, softening and relaxing some more. Noticing that you have a choice in all these participations. How you are co-creating the reality of this moment. Receiving the breath, relaxing the body. And if thoughts arise in this moment, choosing to let them go, choosing to relax them. Not that there's anything wrong with thinking in general, but for the practice in this moment, as we're settling and arriving, inviting thoughts to relax, letting go of them. Receiving the breath in the lower abdomen. In your sit bones, in your legs and feet. In your entire body. With each in-breath, feeling your participation in this moment, in this moment's perceptions. And with each out-breath, relaxing and letting go, which also is a way to engage, to participate. Spend a few minutes just receiving the breath in the abdomen to settle in the body. as you're sitting, receiving the breath, the abdomen. With the in-breath opening up to awareness of your co-creation, your participation in the moment. The out-breath, relaxing and letting go. Drop in the question into your body. The question being, how am I participating? How is this moment's experience being co-created by my participation in it? And drop it into your body, not into your head, not in a way to think about, but feel into this inquiry. Is there a sense of participation in wanting something to happen? Tight, clinging. Or trying to make something happen in this moment. Or is there a sense of non-clinging, spaciousness, letting go? Is there a sense of being caught? Knotted up with what's arising? Or a sense of ease and spaciousness, maybe even spaciousness around a knot that's formed. Making a distinction between a tight fist of clinging and open hand of holding. Now another invitation to drop in to the body. Noticing if the participation, the way that this moment is co-created, has some ill will, some resentment, judgment towards yourself or others. Say, is there a story of, oh, I can't do this, my mind keeps wandering, oh, terrible, bad, bad, Is there that kind of a judgment? Or towards others? Or if there is a discomfort in the body, is there a sense of fighting it, resenting it? Oh, not you again. Oh. Versus, can there be goodwill, friendliness, metta in this co-creation? If you're sleepy or if the mind's wandering, oh, sweetie, you're having a hard time, aren't you? It's okay. You're doing your best. Or if there is discomfort in the body, oh, dear body, yeah. Let me breathe around. Let me hold with kindness this part of the body that's suffering right now, having a hard time. Ill will, judgment versus goodwill, friendliness. Can there be more friendliness, goodwill, in the way this moment, experience in this moment of consciousness is co-created? Again, not heady. Don't start to think about making stories. Drop it into the body. See what arises in observation. If too many thoughts, let them all go. Come back to the breath. Remember, check in with the body to make sure it's relaxed and soft. If any tension has crept in, relax, soften. How am I choosing to participate? How am I choosing to co-create this moment of experience? Am I engaged? Am I checked out? Is there kindness? And for the last moments, last minutes of this practice period together, can I intentionally intend to bring more goodwill and friendliness, generosity of heart, generosity of spirit, in how I engage, how I co-create this moment's experience with whatever might be arising? Notice if the experience of this moment shifts, feels different, and there is more friendliness towards whatever phenomena that's arising. Really appreciating your own participation, the co-creation of this moment's experience, and generally your life. And as we come to a close, choosing to participate with appreciation for yourself, or whatever arose or did not arise. Whether you were sleepy, the mind was filled with thoughts, no problem. In this moment, choose to have generosity of spirit, gratitude and goodwill that you showed up as best you were able to. offering your goodwill, both to yourself and all beings everywhere. Thank you all for your practice. There's a lot in realizing, appreciating our own participation. I'll open up the chat so we can chat with everyone, or unmute yourself. If you'd like to share any quick observations, anything that came up for you that was new about realizing your own co-creation and participation in this moment.
Hey, Nikki.
Hi, Bill.
I've thought about how I sometimes come to these with predetermined expectations, and I can see the frustration that sometimes is a part of that.
Thank you. Thank you for naming that and saying that clearly. And how does it feel now that this has been seen and named?
Not sure yet.
Okay. Not sure yet is what I heard. So my invitation is to sit with it, with openness, with appreciation that this has been seen now. It's so powerful to see this way of having engaged up to now, and how seeing that so clearly, how and not trying to unknot it, but just seeing it. Yeah.
Hi, Nikki. This is Eric.
Hi, Eric.
I have listened to about 100 of these since the pandemic started and was really looking forward to participating live. And then I found participating live was less pleasant for me because I was more anxious about how I'd be viewed or what I might say. And then I tried to participate with that feeling and just be comfortable with that and compassionate to that. And when I did that, it felt lighter and warmer.
As you share these words, Eric, I feel there's a sense of grace that just passed through for you to both witness that for yourself and the courage it takes to share the anxiety publicly, right? Because that was the anxiety, right? How you'd be viewed, and to share that, and then and then to sit with it both privately and it open to let it open up to see that. I feel a sense of energy and joy. Really, grace is the way I can, a brightness for you having witnessed it. Do you feel that, Eric? What's coming up for you? Curious.
Yeah, I'll take grace. I felt kindness, but I like grace.
Great, lovely, beautiful. And so glad you're joining in person. Yay. See, new things are opening up in this way also. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let us have some time at the end for some reflections and questions. And I'd like to invite us now to turn to practicing in small groups together. and seeing how we show up, how we co-create, how we participate. So, and I see there are more questions that are sent to me, and I'll address them when we come back, because I think some of them are actually, the context is much bigger than I like to engage before we go into the groups. So the invitation for practicing in small groups together is to show up with kindness towards yourself, towards others. And it doesn't matter what you say, what comes out of your mouth, really. It's how you hold yourself with acceptance. You're perfect just as you are. You are perfect just as you are. And also hold the perfection of others just as they are. See if you can participate with generosity and kindness for yourself and for others in this moment of practice, and see what that feels like. This is such a lovely community, caring community with metta. So participate in that. And if you feel a little unsure, fine, show up with that and see how that can be held with kindness towards yourself, and with others holding you and you holding others. And if for whatever reason participating in small groups is not appropriate for you right now, it's okay too. No judgment about that. But I hope you don't sign off out of fear, but meet the fear with kindness. Oh, sweetie, I know you're afraid, but it's okay. It's okay. See if that can work. So I will now create the breakout rooms, and always as I create them, everything, the sizes shift, and so it's going to take a moment for me to rearrange. Please be patient with me. Okay, all right. So I am going to open rooms, and remember, it doesn't matter what you say. Show up with this magnificent grace that is within you, and holding that with kindness, and let that be held with kindness. Here we go. Opening all rooms. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. So we have a few minutes for any reflections that came up or questions. Please, you're welcome to unmute yourself.
I have a question about the role that the one person co-creates or is responsible for, as I was saying in my message to you, in the context of racial violence and discrimination or sexual violence. I have difficulties coming to terms with the person who's unfortunately on the receiving end co-creating that moment.
Yeah. So it's more about, I think, this realization of participation and co-creation. The teaching is more about the phenomenological experience of this moment. It's not, and so because Buddhism is a phenomenological teaching, so from the inside, what is your experience of the moment? It's not positing what's out there in the world. So that would be taking this a little too far. It's applying it to areas that's not really helpful to apply it to. Does that help? Great. Thank you, Mary Christine. Other questions or reflections, please.
I have a question that's been percolating for a few sessions, which is, I feel like I come here to be like more regular in my practice, or more accountable, or more like have a schedule, or more serious. And then I come And it's like, oh, be friendly when your mind wanders and you fall asleep. Or sometimes I feel it's like I want to be kind with myself in the moment when I sort of stray, but I worry that if I'm like too nice when I stray, that I'm not actually going to be disciplined enough to like progress in my practice.
Yeah, excellent question, Violet. So being too hard on oneself also definitely is the best way to never progress in your practice. So it's really a balance of what's called wise effort, wise, and I don't like the word effort, wise engagement. The way to engage, really engage with energy, bring energy forward, and have kindness. So those two actually, they go together. It's not one or the other. So absolutely, you're showing up. You've been showing up a few times. Yay. That's engagement. That's energy. That's fantastic. And as you're sitting to set the intention of, oh yeah. Here's another nuanced way I like to point out. So when your mind wanders, say I don't like the word wandering, but when you realize your mind is, your attention, your awareness is resting on something else. Okay. In that moment, if you think, oh, I'm thinking about ice cream, and tomorrow it's like, oh, it's okay. I'll just think about ice cream. It's meditation, but that's okay. I'll be kind to myself. Think about the ice cream. That's not the right way of being kind to yourself. Okay. But if you think about ice cream, you've been thinking about ice cream for a few minutes, like, oh, wow, I've been thinking about ice cream. Darn it. You shouldn't have, like, oh, sweetie, it's okay. You've been doing your best. You see what the difference is in the nuanced way of what, so you're doing your best. And then you're being kind to yourself, but you are making the effort, the engagement, the energy. Because being hard on yourself, like, how dare you? You should have thought, thinking about ice cream. That's the sure way of you hating your practice and never wanting to sit down again, because you'll start developing an antagonistic relationship to your mind. Does that help, Violet?
Yes, thank you very much.
You are very welcome. And let's see, here we have one last offering from Yuka I'd like to read. There was a flower field inside me, and it was very peaceful. There was a place where flowers did not grow next to it. The soil was hard there. It turned out that it was necessary to water the soil to soften it. Oh, that is so sweet. I love your use of language and the way metaphors come to you. And also your group sang What a Wonderful World. Oh, what a wonderful time. Well, that's so sweet. That's awesome. You guys are great. You make me happy. Yes, Rich says Yuka is our group poet. I completely agree. Yes, such beautiful poetry. Yes, so I thank you all. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for the sincerity of your practice, with intentionality, with kindness, and how you engage and co-create your moment's experience. May you be well, safe, happy. May all beings be well, safe, happy, and free. I'll see you guys on Friday. I'm going to be sitting on Wednesday, so Diana will be with you for the next 3 sessions. Take good care. Bye, everyone. You can unmute yourself and say bye.
Bye.
Yay, Violet, for
everyone.
speaking up. Yay,
Bye.
Violet.
Thank you, Nikki.
Bye, everyone.
See you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.